The story of Jael is found in the book of Judges, which recounts the events during Israel's challenging times before the establishment of the monarchy. It was an era of judges, leaders chosen by God to guide and deliver the Israelites from the hands of their oppressors. This period was marked by cycles of disobedience, oppression, repentance, and deliverance. Let's delve into the context so you can better understand this fascinating biblical passage of divine intervention. This story is sure to leave you amazed. The book of Judges is the seventh section of the Old Testament in the Hebrew Bible and is one of the historical books. It covers the period after the death of Joshua, the leader of the Israelites who succeeded Moses, until the beginning of the monarchy with the reign of Saul. This was a time of transition and instability for the Israelites as they tried to establish themselves in the promised land, Canaan. After Joshua's death, the Israelites were in a phase of settling in the land of Canaan. Without a central leader like Joshua or Moses, each Israelite tribe had to fight and establish itself in its respective portion of land. The lack of unity and central leadership led to many problems, including the constant threat of external enemies and the temptation to adopt the practices and gods of neighboring cultures. The period of the Judges is characterized by a recurring cycle that can be summarized in four main phases. The Israelites often turned away from worshipping Yahweh, the God of Israel, and began to worship the gods of neighboring peoples, such as Baal and Asherah. This idolatry was a direct violation of the covenant they had with God, which required exclusive worship of Him. As a consequence of their disobedience, God allowed foreign nations to oppress the Israelites. These oppressions varied in severity and duration, but all served as a form of divine discipline to bring the Israelites back to the right path. In the midst of oppression, the Israelites eventually recognized their errors and cried out to God for help. This repentance was a condition for God to intervene on their behalf. God responded to the Israelites' cries by raising up a judge, a charismatic leader who guided the people to deliverance. These judges were military leaders, prophets, or both, whom God used to save the Israelites from their oppressors and restore order and proper worship. The judges were varied figures, some of them well known, such as Gideon, Samson, and Deborah. Each judge had a unique story and different methods of delivering Israel. Some were military leaders, while others were more spiritual or charismatic figures. The role of a judge was not hereditary and often arose from specific circumstances where God chose someone unlikely to lead. During the time of Deborah and Jael, the Israelites were under the oppression of Jabin, king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazor. The oppression was especially severe due to the Canaanite military power, symbolized by the 900 iron chariots commanded by Sisera, Jabin's general. These iron chariots were a formidable weapon, providing a significant advantage on the battlefield. Deborah was an exceptional figure. She was a prophetess and judge who led Israel both spiritually and militarily. As a prophetess, she had a direct connection with God and was respected for her discernment and wisdom. As a judge, she made legal decisions and led the people in civil and military matters. Her leadership was crucial for awakening the Israelites and organizing resistance against Canaanite oppression. Under Deborah's guidance and Barak's military leadership, the Israelites faced the Canaanites in a crucial battle on Mount Tabor. Divine intervention was crucial to the Israelite victory, demonstrating that deliverance came not only from human effort, but from divine help. Sisera's defeat and subsequent flight led to the fateful encounter with Jael. When Deborah received a divine message about Israel's deliverance, she immediately summoned Barak. Deborah said to Barak, "The Lord, the God of Israel, commands you. Go, take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun and lead them up to Mount Tabor. I will lead Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River and give him into your hands." Judges 4:6-7. This message was clear and specific. God was guaranteeing victory to Barak, promising to draw Sisera into the chosen battlefield and deliver his army into Barak's hands. The task of gathering 10,000 men from the tribes of Naphtali and Zebulun was not simple. Assembling an army of significant size in a time of oppression and fear required leadership, charisma, and deep faith in the divine promise conveyed by Deborah. Mount Tabor, a strategic and difficult-to-access location, would be the chosen battlefield for the ambush. Barak faced a formidable enemy. Sisera's iron chariots were advanced weapons of war for that time, capable of causing devastation to an unprepared army. The Canaanites' technological advantage made the task even more daunting. Despite the clear divine message and promise of victory, Barak hesitated. This hesitation can be understood as a mix of fear, prudence, and the need for additional certainty. The magnitude of the task and the enemy's power were intimidating. Barak responded to Deborah, "If you go with me, I will go, but if you don't go with me, I won't go." Judges 4:8. Barak's requirement that Deborah accompany him can be seen as a quest for spiritual and moral security. Deborah was seen as a direct representative of God, and her presence would bring not only confidence, but also the assurance that God would be with them in battle. Deborah accepted Barak's condition, but with an important prophecy. "Certainly I will go with you," said Deborah, "but because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman." Judges 4:9. Deborah's response is significant for several reasons. First, she demonstrated her willingness to support Barak and lead alongside him, reinforcing her authority and commitment to the divine mission. Second, her prophecy redefined expectations about the victory, making it clear that the glory of Sisera's defeat would not belong to Barak, but to a woman. This foreshadowed Jael's decisive action later in the narrative. With Deborah by his side, Barak organized the tribes of Naphtali and Zebulun, gathering the army of 10,000 men as ordered. The preparation for the battle involved not only mobilizing troops, but also the logistics of moving them to Mount Tabor, a location that offered significant strategic advantage. Mount Tabor, with its elevation and difficult terrain, would be a place where Sisera's iron chariots would have less mobility and advantage. Barak and Deborah planned to use the terrain to their advantage, also counting on the divine intervention promised by God. On the day of the battle, as promised, God intervened. The biblical narrative suggests that a torrential rain caused the Kishon River to flood, turning the ground into mud, which neutralized the advantage of Sisera's iron chariots. This caused chaos and disorder among the Canaanite forces, allowing the Israelites, led by Barak, to inflict a crushing defeat on the enemy. Sisera, seeing the impending defeat, abandoned his chariot and fled on foot. His flight led him to the tent of Jael, where he met his final fate at the hands of the woman mentioned in Deborah's prophecy. And this is where Jael enters the story. Jael was the wife of Heber the Kenite. The Kenites were a group of nomads living among the Israelites, but they were not Israelites. They were descendants of Hobab, Moses' father-in-law. Heber, Jael's husband, had separated from other Kenites and settled his tent near Kadesh, in an area under Canaanite control. The Kenites maintained peaceful relations with both the Israelites and the Canaanites, which allowed Heber and his family to live in a border area without being harassed. And Sisera, the feared commander of Jabin's army, found himself in a desperate situation. His 900 iron chariots, once a symbol of invincibility, were now bogged down and rendered useless due to divine intervention, possibly by a flood at the Kishon River. The defeat was imminent, and Sisera, realizing that the battle was lost, abandoned his chariot and fled on foot. Sisera ran exhausted and covered in dust, his heart pounding erratically. The sound of battle faded behind him as he desperately searched for a safe place to hide. Each step was a reminder of his humiliation and fear, and the landscape around him became a blur of trees and uneven terrain. As he fled, Sisera spotted the tent of Heber the Kenite in the distance. Heber, a descendant of the Kenites who were related to the Midianites, had a peace treaty with Jabin, king of Hazor. Trusting in this alliance, Sisera headed for the tent, believing he would find refuge. Jael, Heber's wife, was outside the tent when she saw Sisera approaching. Her keen eyes noticed the weary and disoriented figure of the Canaanite commander. Recognizing the opportunity and aware of the importance of the moment, Jael took the initiative. With a hospitable demeanor, she went out to meet Sisera and said, "Come in, my lord. Come into my tent. Do not be afraid." Sisera, relieved and confident, accepted the offer and entered Jael's tent. Once inside the tent, Jael offered Sisera a blanket to cover himself. Sisera, still breathless, accepted the blanket and lay down. He asked for some water to quench his thirst, but Jael, showing extra hospitality, offered him milk instead. She opened a skin of milk and gave it to Sisera. The milk, probably curdled or slightly fermented, helped to calm Sisera, providing him with some comfort amidst the chaos surrounding him. After drinking, Sisera said to Jael, "Stand at the door of the tent. If anyone comes and asks if there is anyone here, say no." Trusting Jael, he quickly fell asleep, exhausted from the battle and his desperate flight. While Sisera slept deeply, Jael pondered what to do. She knew that the presence of the Canaanite commander in her tent was a unique opportunity. Deborah's prophecy about Sisera's defeat at the hands of a woman may have resonated in her mind, or perhaps she simply felt it was the right moment to act in favor of Israel. Determined, Jael took a tent peg, a thick wooden stake used to secure the tent to the ground, and a hammer. With silent and firm steps, she approached Sisera. She carefully positioned the peg over Sisera's temple and with decisive force and without hesitation, struck the peg with the hammer. The peg pierced Sisera's temple, driving his head into the ground. The Canaanite commander died instantly, without having time to react. The temple is the lateral part of the head, located between the forehead and the ear. It is an anatomically significant region because it covers the temporal bone of the skull and is close to important vascular and nerve structures. The term temple is used both in anatomy and in medical descriptions to refer to this specific area of the head. In the biblical story of Jael and Sisera, the temple is mentioned because Jael drove a peg into Sisera's temple, a vulnerable area that, when struck with force, can result in instant death due to critical damage to the skull and underlying brain. Soon after, Barak, still pursuing Sisera, arrived at Heber's camp. Jael went out to meet Barak and said, "Come, I will show you the man you are looking for." She led him to the tent and showed him Sisera's body, still with the peg driven into his temple or skull. When Barak arrived looking for Sisera, Jael came out to meet him and led him to Sisera's body, confirming Deborah's prophecy that the honor of victory would belong to a woman. Sisera's death was a decisive blow to the Canaanites and led to the downfall of Jabin, freeing the Israelites from Canaanite oppression. Jael is seen as an example of courage and initiative. Her action, though violent, is interpreted as a fulfillment of the divine plan to liberate Israel. Jael's story highlights themes of power, justice, and divine intervention through unexpected means. It also challenges expectations about the role of women in the biblical narrative, showing how they can be active and decisive agents in the story of Israel's salvation. In Deborah's song recorded in Judges 5, Jael is celebrated as a heroine. "Most blessed of women be Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, most blessed of tent-dwelling women." Her hand reached for the tent peg, her right hand for the workman's hammer. She struck Sisera, she crushed his head, she shattered and pierced his temple. Judges 5:24-26. Sisera's death was a devastating blow to the Canaanites, as he was the commander of their army. Without their military leader, the power of the Canaanites was significantly weakened. As a result, the Israelites were able to intensify their offensive against Jabin, king of Hazor. The Bible reports, "On that day God subdued Jabin, king of Canaan, before the Israelites. And the hand of the Israelites grew stronger and stronger against Jabin, king of Canaan, until they destroyed him." Judges 4:23-24. The victory over Jabin resulted in a period of peace for Israel, although the Bible does not provide specific details about Jael's life after Sisera's death. Her legacy as a heroine was assured. She is remembered as a courageous woman who took decisive action at a crucial moment for Israel. Her story is often cited as an example of how God can use unexpected people to fulfill his purposes. Jael's story offers several valuable lessons that we can apply to our lives. Here are the main lessons we can learn from her. Jael demonstrated extraordinary courage by taking decisive action at a critical moment. She did not hesitate to confront a powerful and dangerous military commander when the opportunity arose. Sometimes we are called to act courageously, even in difficult or frightening situations. Courage can be a transformative force in our lives and in the lives of those around us. Jael acted decisively and determinedly when she realized the importance of the moment. Her action was not impulsive, but calculated and carried out with determination. When facing challenges, it is important to make decisions with clarity and determination. Hesitation can lead to the loss of significant opportunities. Jael was an ordinary woman living in a tent and did not have a position of leadership or prominence before this event. However, her action had a tremendous impact on the history of Israel. No matter our position or circumstances, we all have the potential to make a difference. Ordinary people can play extraordinary roles in crucial moments. Jael knew how to recognize and seize the opportunity when it arose. She realized that Sisera's arrival was a unique chance to change the course of events. Being attentive to opportunities and knowing when to act can be crucial. Often, opportunities come in unexpected ways, and it's important to be prepared to recognize and seize them. Although the Bible does not explicitly mention Jael's inner motivations, her act can be seen as aligned with the divine plan revealed by Deborah. Jael seems to have acted with the conviction that she was fulfilling a greater purpose. Having faith and confidence that we are acting according to a greater purpose can give us the strength needed to face difficult challenges. Jael acted to ensure justice against an oppressor of her people. Her action resulted in the liberation of Israel from Canaanite oppression. Seeking justice, even when it requires sacrifice and courage, is an important virtue. Justice can bring freedom and peace to those who suffer. Jael's story highlights the vital role that women can play in history and in divine plans. She is celebrated as a heroine in the Bible. Women have a crucial and valuable role in all spheres of life. Recognizing and valuing the contributions of women are essential for a just and balanced society. Jael's story teaches us about courage, decisiveness, the importance of acting at the right moment, and the power that ordinary individuals have to make a great impact. Her life inspires us to act with determination and faith, to recognize and seize opportunities, and to fight for justice, regardless of the circumstances. If you enjoyed this inspiring story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating Bible stories and powerful lessons that we can apply in our daily lives. We have many other videos exploring incredible characters and epic events from the scriptures that will surely enrich your knowledge and inspire your spiritual journey. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.